votes, constituting 43.44%. However, ladies and gentlemen of the press, Article 83B of the Constitution of Liberia requires that for any presidential ticket to win outright on the first ballot, that ticket must acquire at least 50% plus one of the valid votes cast. Article 83B further states that where no presidential ticket obtains at least 50% plus one, the two presidential tickets that receive the highest number of valid votes shall participate in a runoff election to be held on the second Tuesday following the expiration of the time provided for in Article 83C. With the results of the 10th October polls showing that no presidential ticket obtained 50% plus one vote, a runoff election is hereby declared to be held on Tuesday, 14 November 2023, between the two tickets that obtained the highest number of votes. Political campaign for the 14 November runoff election is hereby declared open today, 24th October 2023, and shall close on the 12th of November 2023 at 11:59 p.m.
At the first round, we call for absolute majority of the vote, meaning you must have 50% plus one. Then you win the first round, meaning there's no second round. If no candidate obtained absolute majority, 50% plus one in the first round, a second ballot shall be conducted on the second Tuesday following the announcement of the results of the first ballot. Second Tuesday, I will end here. I don't have to go all the way down. Second Tuesday following the announcement of the result of the first ballot. If you need to plan for elections second round, the time the law tells you we need to conduct the second round, do you expect for us to get the money after announcing the results before we start running being a Ministry of Finance or before we start making preparation? Election doesn't work like that. While we are talking about now, the commission start to engage for that money. The commission start to make preparation for a possible second round, if there will be a second round. The time frame the law is providing, it's a very limited time frame that you expect the commission to say, we're waiting for the first round to finish. Let's see whether there will be second round before we make preparation. Obviously, the time frame is very limited. And as such, in elections, there are lots of preparation we put in for elections. You saw in 2005, there was a second round, 2011, in 2017, and the commission were ready to move into the second round because we always have funding for the second round. That is why the commission is engaging. Nobody said the commission praying there might be this one or there might be this one. In elections, when you are preparing in elections, we don't wait for the last day before we prepare. Election is a bridge between chaos and peace. It lasts for the security. So that's the reason the commission is asking for this money now, because preparation must start now for second round. It will need to have second round.
The speaker, being a peaceful person, being law-abiding, decided to file a legal brief with the National Elections Commission after exhausting what was available in the county. So today we are here at the level of the Board of Commissioners to talk to them and tell them what were the crimes we have. Those irregularities are happening while we're in Plibo. Some of our complaints stems from the situation in Wechokin, in Plibo, and that of Osodokin, and how there were issues of ballot stuffing, intimidation of voters, the appearance of the country devil. At the level of the speaker, we've asked for a rerun of these centers. I think that it is precedent in our recent electoral history, where if there are qualms with certain centers within the district, you can probably have a quarantine and call for rerun.
That is what you get when the hobo pejoratively hobnobs with the hobo bamboozle, razudazu, rasmatas politically. He was supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is a way of saying the president was fantastic. But his political enemies said he was suffering from what I describe as new mono ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Yes, it's a word that is supposed to be called silicosis, meaning a lung disease. But in search for the longest word in the dictionary, they pep it up to become a 45-letter word, which is new mono ultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. What an odium! What an ignominious memento! That even at the barbituration, of the so much acclimatized. The same subsidy evacuation and barbituration was condemned by a scrupulous, fastidious, puritanical, boisterous, energetic, and a routine to thin, but today for political somnambulism and malocclusion, reticent, taciturn, uncommunicative, and unforthcoming, meaning he has foretold in their poll. Don't trouble nothing too much, you know. 1, 2, 3, I'm loving you. 4, 5, 6, something. I love you. I'm missing you. I want you back. Long time no see. Out your love, I'm lonely. I miss you. And it's too hard to bear. What have you done to me? I'm waking up in the middle of the night without you. And it's so unfair. I toss and turn, reach for you, only my pillows. Soon awake in the morning.
It is another day, people. Thank you so very kindly that you join us for the show, Bits and Pieces, on Voice of Liberia 104.1, Voice of Liberia 89.7, Kakata Magibi County, and the online radio www.voiceofliberiaradio.com, and will soon be added to the list, Voice of Liberia Magibi County, that's Banga. So we've got the issues to talk about. Thank you so very kindly that you join us this afternoon for the show. Thank you for joining in. Eugene Jobo, you are leading the list. Thank you ever so much. We've got a couple of issues to talk about. My name is Sam Andrews, and this is Bits and Pieces, Voice of Liberia.
Thought you could be replaced. I daydream. You and me, and how great we used to be. And I firmly believe of turning all these dreams into reality. And like a child, I would say it's so easy to you. 1, 2, 3, I love you. 4, 5, 6, I miss you. I want you back.
Since we're back, let's get started. We've got a couple of things to talk about. The incident that occurred at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning this morning, where fire is reported, or did, because it was confirmed by Papi Daniels. He is the one responsible for the the financial management. That's the PFM, Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. And it was brought under control by the firefighters, and it was said that it wasn't stage managed, though some try to put it squarely on political ground that it was stage managed, but it wasn't, according to him, at all. It had absolutely nothing to do with politics. Rather, it was an error, which, did I say error? No, but rather investigation is still ongoing to determine the cause. Yeah, it's Papi Daniels.
So about 6:58 a.m. this morning, my deputy director in person of Libra called me. And he said he got a news that the office was on fire. So I said, which one is the office? He said, well, the PFN office. I said, okay. So I ascertained the fact, because nobody can come in the morning to do some cleaning up here before we can come to work or prepare for work. When I called her, she couldn't answer me well. She was on the phone crying. It was serious. So I drove here this morning By the time I got there, I realized that the place was burned down. When I came, we saw the security and the security were here putting the security under control and the fire service guys. So they are doing an investigation. They will come on and let us know the cause of the fire. So far, so good. That's where we are. Just a setback was least expected because to come and see all of your personnel files, administrative documents, you can have access to them. Any administrator, somehow, it's painful. All right. So that is just what it means for me for now. I will be able to work now until we can be able to put ourselves together. Yeah. In terms of carrying out functions, providing financial management services, finance project, yes, because the office that is in charge or that those that are reaching out of the document are still intact. So that is what I'm thankful for. Well, they shouldn't be quick to judge or say anything about it. There's things happening in this country. People should be give the process a chance, so that they can be able to investigate and come up with findings. All right. So out here running the office, I don't even know what caused the fire. So investigation is still ongoing. So I can't tell you whether it was this or that until those who are in charge come and say, okay, we have done our investigation. This is the cause of the fire.
Papi Daniels, Director, PFM, Ministry of Finance, explaining exactly what transpired. Well, that is under control investigation. It's still ongoing and it will be made public. So away from that, to the political scene, the National Elections Commission, in line with the Constitution, announced on yesterday, Tuesday, the runoff because none of the parties got the 50 plus 1 vote as required by the Constitution. So, in accordance with the Constitution, NEC did announce the runoff and declare campaign officially open, though they had already started running their campaign before NEC could even announce it, but they needed to have gotten the final, not final, but the official go ahead.
Article 83B of the Constitution of Liberia requires that for any presidential ticket to win outright on the first ballot, that ticket must acquire at least 50% plus 1 of the valid votes cast. Article 83B further states that where no presidential ticket obtains at least 50% plus 1, the 2 presidential tickets that receive the highest number of valid votes shall participate in a runoff election to be held on the second Tuesday following the expiration of the time provided for in Article 83C. With the results of the 10th October polls showing that no presidential ticket obtained 50% plus 1 vote, a runoff election is hereby declared to be held on Tuesday, 14 November 2023, between the 2 tickets that obtained the highest number of votes, the presidential ticket of the Coalition of Democratic Change CDC, led by Mr. George Manawia, and the presidential ticket of Unity Party UP, led by Mr. Joseph Numa Boyka. Political campaign for the 14 November runoff election is hereby declared open today, 24th October 2023, and shall close on the 12th of November 2023 at 11:59 p.m.
The chairman of the National Elections Commission, Director Brown Lassana, announcing the runoff and the 2 parties that made it to the runoff with the campaign open with. They got limited time. But what about the commission itself in terms of finance? Well, before the runoff could be announced by the chairman of the National Elections Commission, she was asked this question repeatedly, and she answered in the affirmative. Every time this question was asked about the budget, the readiness financially to conduct the runoff, given the urgency of the moment, limited time, though she will not give figure but she was always clear whenever that question was asked that they are ready to conduct the runoff. She was asked repeatedly if there was a possible runoff as we see the signs looming. Do you have the money or have you received funding? And she said in the affirmative, very short, we are ready. That means the National Elections Commission has the money to conduct the runoff. The reason I'm saying it because we don't want to hear any cry from the National Elections Commission that they do not have money for this, they are having impediments on this or with this. Moreover, she was asked yesterday about inking. And while answering that question, another question came about voter education. And she would try to put it down on financial ground, but she tried to do it smartly. And you could tell that not sufficient money, she would say indirectly, they did receive. When she said, you're the media people too, when these things happening, you should know. That is why you need to help the commission too by flagging. So if she would say that, then it means the commission, in my opinion, don't have enough. If she has, because she said they're ready, so no problem. Then there should be no problem with conducting the runoff. Next should not complain about the money. Then there are a couple of things that we pick up from the conference. During the question and answer period on yesterday, when she announced the final results and the runoff, she was asked about the election as to its fairness, presiding over the first round, whether, in her opinion, from her assessment, the election was fair. And this is what she had to say as her response.
And if you say whether this election is fair, I would say by the actions that we took to make corrections as we're going on, and the fact that we brought those problems to you and the Liberian people and told you what corrective measures we put in place to address the different challenges that we had, I would say to you that the 2023 10th October elections were fair elections.
Good. Then came the question about invalid votes. Many argue that the invalid votes, substantial as it was announced, 114,000, it means, by their argument, not much or sustained voter education was done. And then she would put it squarely. She fumbled. She did fumble. You could tell that she confirmed what I have always said, that the National Elections Commission, and not only this one, I have had the opportunity to have seen elections in the past conducted by this very National Elections Commission. Not much is done with voter education. And my concern had always been, what do they use the money for? Because voter education is sine qua non to transparent elections. Not only that, it is also sine qua non to proper voting. If the people are fully educated, if they have a clearer picture of what they are to do, when the time comes, you will not have those anomalies that we see with the ballot marking. NEC has always not been successful with voter education in this country. Dr. Nevers Mumba from ISA, one of the observer teams to Liberia, made it very clear that not only did NEC not provide the FFR ahead of time, which is also another component of a sine qua non to transparent election, but that not proper voter education was done. So only yesterday, she did confirm what we have always said, that not much voter education was done. I want you to listen. She did fumble with it, and she tried. She tries to play. She tries to beg the question. She tries to play the smart game. But if you are standing there and you are philosophical enough, you will realize that, or you will sense the guilt and the fault that truly they didn't do much. Have a listen as she talks on the invalid votes.
Invalid votes is, I don't know how to put it. There are multiple reasons why we normally experience invalid votes in elections. And this is not a Liberian thing. This cuts across most of the African countries.
That's the first error she made. And that is what has placed this country backward. This is the justification that many use. It doesn't make sense in any way to use other people's situation as justification or to flower your own. It doesn't make sense at all. If you have substantial invalid votes in Tajikistan election, Tajikistan situation cannot be used as a justification, as a flowery for your blunder in your own country. It's all but fair that you admit that we blunder. It is not to say, it is not the issue that it happens in all countries. No. We are talking about Liberia. Our subject is Liberia. Our subject, the people of this country. That is a substantial number, 114,000. It means a considerable work wasn't done by the National Elections Commission in terms of voter education. So that's the first blunder she made there, that this thing having all kind of, she tries to play on the people who are there, thinking that she's more smarter than the people who were there asking those questions. Listen again.
Votes is, I don't know how to put it. There are multiple reasons of votes. I don't know how to put it. Votes is, I don't know how to put it. There are multiple reasons why we normally experience invalid votes in elections. And this is not a Liberian thing. This cuts across most of the African countries. What might be different would be the number. In this case, we say is 114,000 plus. So there are several reasons, but I will just name a few. We learned along the way that the number of ballots, 3 ballots given to voters, some were confused and did not know what to do. It looked too much for them, so they folded them without marking them and put them in the ballot box. Then invalid votes also comes about when Liberians decide, and I'll put it this way, to be vexed with a candidate that they don't like and mark the person's face all over. Sometimes they put some 4-letter words all over their faces. And I'm saying this because we have done a survey before. And we saw some of the things that Liberians put on those faces of candidates that they don't like. They don't want to see the person, so they want to scratch them off the ballot. Secondly or thirdly, some persons will mark outside of the box completely. That there are just multiple reasons. We've been criticized for not conducting enough CVE to ensure that voters will mark the ballots the way how they are supposed to, box completely. That there are just multiple reasons. We've been criticized for not conducting enough CVE to ensure that voters will mark the ballots the way how they are supposed to. So we take that correction. We'll do our best next time. But also too, I would say that when we formulate a budget to address most of these things, those of us who criticize now should be the ones to say to the legislature, give the people the money. Because every step of the way that we take, we pay for it. So if we next time have to go from door to door to explain to Liberians how to mark the ballot, we need to be supported financially. Then finally, I will say that to address civic and voter education in the long term is to ensure that electoral information is integrated in the curriculum. In all of the schools, how to mark the ballot, they get to know their rights and all of that. And they get to know not to be vexed with the candidate that they don't want to see. Because when you mark that ballot and you are vexed marking that ballot, you are simply saying, as for my ballot. It's new to me personally because I have been in the field. Some of them I went and saw myself. But this particular one that you're talking, mark that ballot and you are vexed marking that ballot, you are simply saying, as for my ballot. It's new to me personally because I have been in the field. Some of them I went and saw myself. But this particular one that you're talking, finally, I will say that to address civic and voter education in the long term is to ensure that electoral information is integrated in the curriculum. In all of the schools, how to mark the ballot, they get to know their rights and all of that. And they get to know not to be vexed with the candidate that they don't want to see. Because when you mark that ballot and you are vexed marking that ballot, you are simply saying, as for my ballot. It's new to me personally because I have been in the field. Some of them I went and saw myself. But this particular one that you're talking is not before me.
All right. So it is not that she isn't confirming, but rather that they have made mistakes in the past and using the people who asked the question as not helping the commission. That if the legislature or to pressurize the legislature, it is not that we need to tell or be on the legislature back. Madam Chairman, if you don't have money for that, make it clear you don't have money and you can continue or you can start. The commission had always placed itself in an embarrassing position. Now, when it is pressed, it tries to look for a convenient way out. If there isn't, by your allocation, if the budget is small, make it clear that the budget cannot. The budget has items. When you're saying budget, you're not saying physical cash, you're saying line items. So, what is it that you have there in terms of your observation or covering the entire country, sensitizing, that needs to go for voter education? It is not to say that you need to help us too. You need to get on the legislature back. So we agree. You send the budget to the legislature and it is cut, or half is approved and the others out, or is delayed. Then you make it clear that XYZ, item 1, 2, 3, they are essential component of the elections. We cannot start the elections without this. Voter education is key. It is one of two key components of the election in terms of getting it right. So if we don't have sufficient fund for voter education, we will do less. Then everybody knows. But every time she said it was okay, they have received this, they have received that. So the reason you have these ballot papers damaged 114,000 plus, it's because the Elections Commission did not do. Now we are in the runoff and the time is limited. So they have another enormous tax before them. With this limited time now, they can't do much. So they rely on radio stations That's the only medium available to them now. They can crisscross the entire country. They are limited to some extent. Though the commission said that they are ready. So let's leave it that way. They are ready. But they will have to do sufficient, adequate, sustained voter education this time around. The people did not understand. Vast majority of the people did not understand, and thank God she admitted it. Ballot paper, the presidential paper, long, 20 persons. We can blame the commission for that. The Constitution says as many as can sign up to contest, fine. By the expression, eligible Liberians who meets the criteria. So the Constitution is saying even if 500 persons can sign up to contest the presidency, no problem. So if we had 25 or 30 persons contesting the presidency, imagine how the paper was going to be. Longer. It's going to be more than Lapa. Even Lapa short. 20 persons, the people could not identify. They did not have the patience, right? They did not have the patience to go through taking the time to identify. The second thing is the images or the ballot papers weren't that clear. So people did not have the time to actually stay in that booth knowing that I have to get out as quickly as I can because the next person is coming. So in order not to delay, they will mark. They just mark. Because NEC did not take time to educate the people. In that press conference, she also shifted the responsibility to on the political parties. That I agree with her. The political parties too needed to have help with this, with the sensitization of the voter education. But they too were primarily concerned about selling their manifestos. So they wouldn't talk much about how to go about voting and what to do and what not to do. They didn't have the time. Not that the time wasn't in their favor, they had, but principally they were concerned about their manifesto. But they too needed to have educated. They too needed to have provided education for their people. As NEC is providing voter education or sensitizing or educating, or giving the people an understanding, the political parties themselves, independent candidates, doing the same thing. So voter education is simply to say so that the people will have an understanding. So it cuts across every stakeholder. The media will do their part, even though it's not necessarily our responsibility, but we do it because this is a national stuff. So we just make it a part of us. We take ownership of it. And this is why NEC will hold the money and feel that because it is a national stuff, so most of the radio stations will talk. So I know that because I've heard that from in the commission, one of the voices in the commission explain some of these things. They will hold on to certain amount and say, oh, you know, the people know that at nationality, most of you radio stations, you will talk about it a lot. So not much money can go on that side. So they will divert certain amount of the funds to other areas. So with this second round, NEC will have to do something real good in terms of sensitizing the people. She said that some of the people get vexed and just mark anyway or boss the image of some of the people. That is not true. If the people ever did that because NEC did not take time to explain, you have a long paper, more than Lapa. Common sense will not tell you that it's going to be difficult. Now, the second round, watch it. The second round, no difficulty whatsoever. You will not see it in the second round. You will see it will go as smooth. The two guys in the second round, President Weah will be identified with ease and confidence. Joe Walker will be identified with ease and confidence. When you have too many images on the paper, it provides or it compels you to provide education. Then another thing that was asked, I'm trying to find that clip. I can't get it, but I will have it before the close of the show. We played it yesterday, so it's available. Next, sorry to say, if I'm signing this way, but the National Elections Commission lied. They're giving people reason to believe certain things. Yet, when this question was asked about inkling, the chair could not readily convince her audience. And then she sent that to Basi Pangba, one of the commissioners. And then he tried to answer it or give reasons, but he fumbled. Then she turned it to another guy who she referred to as a technical person to explain. They said that it is not wrong. What we have always known in our voting, the pattern had always been when you have voted, you go to the person responsible for inkling, and your finger will be in, and you go outside. That means everyone who sees your finger will have known that you voted. We have all along, I can never say that has ever, or I saw that in any elections that it didn't happen. That's why I used to. And when I went to vote on October 10th, that's what happened at my center. After I was given the papers, cast my ballot, moved back, the lady told me to show my finger. And I did. And she tried putting little there. And I told her, no, don't be afraid. Place it, put it all over. Put it all over. Don't be afraid. Put it all over. Spray it on the finger, madam. And she did. The guy said they had the audacity to lie to the people yesterday. And you could see that truly they were lying because none of the three could readily convince the people. The men said when the reason why they're using it, because they have experience in the past when some people vote, when they go in, when they call them to mark their finger, they'll refuse and just walk out. Who has ever done that? Who doesn't want the people to know that he or she has voted? Even if that person is in a double deal. Moreover, you have security at the place. So if a person, you networker, if a person didn't ink or you didn't ink that person, do you not know that that person will go and maneuver somewhere else and vote? The essence of the ink is to deny the person. It's not only to say that this person has voted, but it's also to deny the person going to the other center. So how can next say that they had experience that people were refusing to vote, were refusing to have their finger ink after they cast the ballot? That is the reason why they introduced inkling before balloting. So it's either way. I can go inside there, you ink my finger before. I just take the paper and chunk it. Does I say that I voted? If I refuse, who in the rational self, who in the normal self will refuse to be inked when all of the parties, the party observers are there? Independent people are there. All local voters are there. So assume that this person says that don't mark my finger. Who will come in support of him or her to say, yes, that's the person right, don't mark? Everybody will go against that person. Everybody. It has always been after voting inkling in our country, and it hasn't been a problem. No one has ever had problem. This time around, NEC changed it. That is the reason why people suspected that NEC was doing something fishy in the first round. They could not. I want you to listen to it. I'm finding it hard to get it, but I will bring it. Yeah, the three of them, the chairman, Basti Kwangba, and the technical man. It should not be. The reason I'm saying it, because the second round, it should not be. You can't ink people before they go to vote. But when you ink me, I already voted. So it means I can turn around without receiving ballot paper from you and get outside. Will you force me? Because that's the reason the men say when people vote, some of them will refuse to have their finger ink and they will go. So what's the difference there? What's the difference? You can ink me, I turn around right there and go back. Will you stop me? Just as they argue from the onset that the people were doing it and they could not stop them, it is the same way. I can go. You ink my finger. I have ballot paper. I put the paper right in front of you. I turn around. So will you stop me and force me to go and vote? I've already voted because you ink me. I've already voted. So why you want me to do it again? You already ink me. The ink is the identification, it's the validation, it's the confirmation that I have voted as confirmed or as legitimized by the National Elections Commission. The ink. That's why it fall. The ink stay on my finger. It stay on my finger. So anybody sees this finger, they know that I voted. Anybody, that is the essence of the ink. That is why at the close of the day, when you go to vote, when you come outside, no part of your body the people looking at, besides your finger, your thumb, they're looking at it to see. So if you didn't vote and you lie, you voted, everybody will know that you lie. This time around, this second round, NEC should not use that. Let the people cast the ballot and then you ink them. People should not be inked before. What sense does that make? I'm trying to figure out the sense in that thing. You ink before balloting? Ink before balloting? We go second round. This second round, you ink me. As soon as you pour that thing on my finger, I turn around. I come in outside. So let me see what you all will say. Whether you have any right to force me to go by and vote. That was wrong. I'm trying to get it. That was completely wrong. Wrong. Then she was also asked about, before I go to the next issue, she was also asked about those who sell the votes. This, I agree with her. I'm on this one with her. I side with her. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Very many of you who have done that, listen, you people are dead. When I say dead, I mean out of the second round. Your conscience will prick you. You will never, ever feel at ease within yourself. When people are talking about this election or the second round, the voting and the experience, you will always feel uncomfortable with yourself because by then the $5, the $10 you receive finish. So she will caution people against selling their votes. She couldn't have put this better. I side with her. I reason with her. Let's have a listen to the chairman of the National Elections Commission, David Brown Losana, on cautioning people against selling their votes.
You say people purchasing voter cards?
There are reports of that.
There are reports. So these reports, the NEC cannot substantiate them. You can't substantiate these reports. But it's against yourself to sell your card. It's against yourself to give your card to anybody else other than you. Because it's with that card that you can exercise your franchise, you can make that decision to vote for who you want to be your president, your senator, and your representative. If you want to give your card to somebody else, that person cannot use the card because the person is not you, but the person buying your card can prevent you from voting. So we all need to be aware of this and I don't know, talk to our brother, sister, auntie, uncle, and children.
G. Williams here, you are following from West Point. Thank you so very much for joining in. I appreciate it. Good afternoon. Hope that you're very well. Rufus Divine Brooks Jr., you are following from your office. Thank you so very much. Up Benson Street. Thank you so very much for joining the show Bits and Pieces. I appreciate it. Hope that you're having a wonderful time. Rufus Divine Brooks Jr. So if you sell your vote, your voting card, you are out of the second round. And you know why people buy your vote? So that you don't vote. And you know why they are telling you? Please accept my unprofessionalism. You know why they are telling you? You are stupid. That is what they are telling you. What is it? How much is $10 to you in terms of your livelihood, your existence, that you gave your voting card? You are more than $10. You are more than $5. You are more than $20. Your existence doesn't center on $5, on $10. The only reason they come to you to buy it, you know what they are telling you? You are peasant. You are downtrodden. You are nobody. You are slave. You don't know yourself. So you should be used as a thing, T-H-I-N-G, and not a person to be respected because you have no respect. That's what they tell you. When they buy your voter card, those are the words they are using on you. They are telling you you're valueless, you don't care, you're peasant, you're downtrodden, you're useless. Since you don't know or you don't have any value, give it to us. We gave you peanuts, we gave you crumbs, and then you can go because that's what you are. That's who you are. So when the voting time comes now, and you hear your colleagues, your peers talking about getting ready to vote, talking about their candidate, their party, and their voting cards are ready, they're going to vote. They can't wait for Tuesday morning to cast the vote. And you can't say anything because you sold yours. The $10 finished. How much is $10 in Liberia? 920. Some areas 930. When you buy one item, it finished. The money finished. Who are you rated? And those who are purchasing people's voter card, that's the last thing you ever want to do as a candidate or a party. You don't want to stoop so low. If you are competitive within yourself, ready to face your rival, you don't have to engage into anything shenanigan. You don't have to engage into any scheme. You don't have to be mechanical. All you have to do is get yourself ready for the contestation. If you win, fine. If you don't win, it means you contested well. You don't have to engage into schemes. Buying voter card. When you buy the person card, you don't want the person to vote. How can you be a Liberian? How can you claim to be a citizen of the country? How can you speak so highly of patriotism and nationalism and you stabbing the very country in the back? That voter card that you bought, that is the country right there. You know what you have done to your own country? You did not do it to foreigner. You did it to your own country. And it's all because of bigotry. It's all because of the obsession for power. And after everything, you will blast other people as being unpatriotic, unnationalistic, un-Liberian when they do something to the contrary. But you wouldn't say that you did it. It is grave. It is malicious. It is satanic. It is inhumane. You stop buying voter cards. You stop it. If you are competitive, you will not engage into such. If you're in a competition and you know that you have all that it takes, you got the arsenal. You will not settle down for less. You will not be mediocre. You will not engage into these things. Buying voter card for what? Just sell your manifesto. Convince your people to the letter. And then they will give you their vote. They will give you their votes. You don't have to engage into such. Only lazy people do that. Only political weaklings do that. Buying votes for what? You buy the votes, or you bought the card. You're not going to use it anyway. You're not giving it to anybody, only to destroy them. You know what you have done to your country? You're not doing it to foreigners. You're not doing it to Guineans, Ghanaians, Sierra Leoneans, Ethiopians, Italians, Americans, Germans, French. You're doing it to Liberians. You are against Liberians, Liberian against Liberians. But I can understand too, because the people realize that you are valueless because you show them the sign. So they do it. Those of you who have your voter cards, don't sell it. If you sold your voter card, they gave you $10 or $20, that money will finish and you will not vote. If you didn't vote, you will never ever be in peace. You will never. You know why you will not be in peace? You know how it affects you? Your conscience will never ever be clear because you are that umbilical cord. Liberia. That is the reason why you are called Liberian. You will feel it. I, Sam Andrew, sitting here, if I don't vote, I can never ever be in peace. Never. Never. That's what makes it an inherent right, democratic right. It is enjoyable. It is historical. It is a lifelong history that you will talk about. Even in the next war, you will be so excited to talk about how you cast your ballot, how you made a decision that you was responsible for this person coming to power, that you changed the situation for the better. You can boast of it. It's enjoyable. It's just like when you are eating a palatable dish, you don't want it to finish. That's how voting is. When you stand on that line and you cast your ballot in moving, you want another opportunity to go back and cast again. But it's only one. So if you sold your vote, your voting card, you are dead. That is exactly what I mean by the word DEAD. You are dead. You are off completely. You stop buying voter cards. If you are strong as a political person or a politician, whatever, you don't have to buy voter cards. You don't have to prevent them from. Why will you deny them? Why will you influence them? Why will you influence them not to exercise their franchise as it is used? That's the word that they use very often, which means right. Why will you disenfranchise your very citizen? And you say that you are a big politician, you are a big political party, you are a big independent candidate. Why will you do that? Why will you stoop so low? Why will you damage your own country? Because it is evil, it is malicious, it is satanic, it is inhumane, it is diabolical. So you never ever see those who doing it come in the open. So ask yourself, the person who is paying for the voter cards never ever come in the open. You know why the person doesn't come in the open and uses surrogates or pseudonyms? Because he or she knows that it is wrong. It is illegal. When he or she is caught right-handed, the law can punish such person. So because the person doesn't want to be disgraced, the person doesn't want to be exposed, so the person goes occultic, secret, using other people. That political party person get in the forefront because the person knows that it's not legitimate goods. It's not an open goods like everybody right now. They are buying down Waterside, Randall Street, Carey Street, Lane Street, Broad Street. So they will not go and do it in the open. So you want to maintain your integrity. If they came to you influencing you to purchase your voting card, don't agree. That $10 will finish. $10 can finish in no time. $5 can finish in no time. Don't agree to sell your voting card. We've got just 2 weeks to go to decide. If you don't get your voting card, how can you vote? And you want to vote. It may be good to sell it, but you will regret it when the day comes and everybody moving. Then people asking you, but you voted the first round, you ain't going to vote, you will end up lying. Say, no, man, I voted the first round. I ain't got to vote the second round. Not that you don't got to vote the second round. You have to vote the second round, but you don't get the card. You sold the card. So you're using that as a convenient excuse. If you can vote first round, why you can vote second round? That's the same election. It's not different. That's the same election. The first round, you only had 20%. And the law say to win the election, you must get 50 plus 1.
NECs announced results.
You don't get it 50 plus 1. You don't get it 50 plus 1. So the law says, since the people ain't get it 50 plus 1, the 2 people with the highest vote, let them go into another election. That election there is called the runoff. So that the same voting. So you sold the voting card now. The people buy it from you. You collect your ma. You put a ma in your pocket. You say, oh, that all. My man, let's go enjoy ourselves. You go, you buy 1-2 items. It finish. They take your voting card. They destroy it. They burn it. Now, when you see the same people now who bought the card from you, when you go to them again, when your ma finish, you go to them asking them for something, they will cost you. We have seen it. They can cost you. They use organ awards or something like that. They don't even know you. Because you already sold the card. They finish with you now. So you stop selling your card. The second round we in. You don't sell your card to any political party or politician. You don't sell it. You hold it. You hold it. All right. That's what I can say for that. We come back to the National Elections Commission. They are trying to get that inkling something. We played it yesterday. I will get it. So the 2 parties are fighting for players who made significant, who play well in the elections in the first round. They are fighting for those players. One of them is Alexander Cummings. President Weah and Joseph Walker, they went to the man's house on yesterday. But yeah, it's a man who didn't come there. Nobody. The expectation was that Cummings would have made significant impact. He would have come there. But Cummings didn't. Instead, it was Mr. Appleton. But only to see that these guys, the 2 players, moving to Cummings' house, influencing Cummings. So now, as the political leader of the collaborating political parties, he will confirm. He did confirm. Cummings himself confirmed. He did not say that President Weah invited him or Joe Barker invited him. He said they went at his house. Yeah, what he said. He said, today I was pleased to separately host both President George Weah and former Vice President Joseph Boakai at my residence, at their respective request. That means President Weah requested, say, I want to see you. It will be at your place. Joe Boakai said, I want to see you, but it will be at your place. Then he went further to say, the CPP will continue to engage both CDC and Unity Party as we determine our position for the runoff. Now, Cummings has consulted a 5-member committee, or constituted, sorry. He has constituted a 5-member committee to initiate a dialogue with the two front runners ahead of the runoff elections on November 14. The committee will assess the two candidates and decide which way the CPP should go during the runoff. He named his running mate, Councillor Charlene Bromskin, as head of the negotiating committee.
NEC's announced results point to a runoff between the ruling Coalition for Democratic Change and the former ruling Unity Party. We have therefore set up a team of 5 persons to engage in meaningful discussions with the two parties going into the runoff to inform our final decision as to who to support. The CPP team is chaired by Councillor Charlene M. Bromskin, who is joined by a vice chair of the Liberty Party, 2 leaders of the Alternative National Congress, and the head of our campaign. These discussions are very, very important to us, and we promised the Liberian people that we would work to change the system to benefit all Liberians, to change the system to benefit humans, to systemic change in how we have repeatedly governed ourselves. We would simply play musical chairs with leaders only to keep doing the same things over and over without any improvements to the lives of our people. We refuse to be a partner in keeping our people poor, our nation divided, and our governing system corrupt. We refuse to be a partner. Commitment to gender equality. Prioritize the passage of the minimum 30% law for women participation and membership in the legislature. We must also seek the appointment of women to the cabinet with a view to achieving at least 40% commitment to provide preferential loans and business development support programs to Liberian entrepreneurs, especially with focus on women and youth. Commitment to establish a war and economic crime support. We must culture of impunity in our country and seriously seek to recognize of investigatory agencies. Commitment to decentralized public administration. We will not sustainably develop Liberia, the legislature, auditing the legislature, the tax code, and rules and regulations for establishing businesses to make it business friendly. We must make Liberia business friendly. And accommodating to Liberian more than the drug epidemic. Commitment to electoral reform to avoid the repeat of electoral fraud. Commitment to religious tolerance to ensure an inclusive Liberia. In summary, we want our change agenda to drive our decision. We therefore request that the parties who seek our support in the second round of elections commit to our vision for a Liberia, for a better Liberia, and our agenda for real change, and to sign with the Liberian people that they will commit to fundamentally changing politics as usual for the benefit of all Liberians. May God continue to bless our nation, and may Liberians be peaceful as they go to this runoff, and may God bless you and our country. I thank you.
5 members committee constituted by Alexander Cummings to reach a decision as to where the collaborating political parties / the Alternative National Congress will go. Already, his main man in Munsability has been very definitive and emphatic. Nowhere else but President George Weah. So Bility has made his position unequivocal, irreversible, President George Weah, he's going to support in the second round or the runoff. Cummings remains indecisive, as you listen to the statement constituting a 5-member committee headed by his defeated vice president, a vice presidential running mate, Councillor Charlene Brumskin, to do the vetting. So, to put this in a very short context, one, it is not impossible that he cannot somersault to support President George Weah. What going to be difficult, and I know he's been pondering over this, over the time, he had always been very vocal of President Weah's regime, terming it as misrule, has been placed in the dungeon, the country has gone down war and on and on. With his usual expression, you can do the same thing this all of the time and expect the same result. So, with those hard criticisms of President Weah administration, will he now face the Liberian people with every bravery, put those things behind, and throw his weight behind President George Weah in the second round? President Weah went to see him yesterday at his residence. Did anyone ever have that thought that President Weah will have gone to Cummings, that he will even think about Cummings as a significant figure, given how it played out for him in the entire first round? So it was a surprise for very many people on yesterday. Honestly, it was a surprise when it came out that President Weah had gone to Alexander Cummings' house to sit with him to beg his support for the second round. No way to color it. I cannot color it anyway. President Weah moving to Cummings' house was not to say that I want to appoint you or we've been good friends, I came to visit you. No, it was just one item. I need your support. So President Weah went to beg his support, and it's not wrong at all. In the second round, everybody is significant. Everybody is key. You can't overlook anybody. In the second round, only two things essential. Only two things. One, the person's vote accrue in the first round. Two, the influence, how influential the person is. These are the two factors that play in the second round, the first round and the second round. So he went to beg Cummings for his support. The third thing within this contextualization of President Weah's visit is, can Cummings look at President Weah, having made that request to him in his capacity as the president of the Republic of Liberia, to say no? Well, this may sound elementary, but it is a factor. Can he turn down the president's request? The president may have convinced him. He may have made some amendment to Cummings. That means he may have said, Cummings, I can understand that you talk and some of the things that you said, they are right. I can assure you improvements will be made. I will make improvement in those areas. Your criticisms were significant. Two, we are all Liberians. We can come together and do this thing for the good of our country. This last 6 years, I can do it without you. You know, the president can make amend. I show it, they talk about all of those things. The conversation was cordial. It was friendly. It was political. And what happened is it did not achieve a definitive goal. That means it did not come up with a definitive position for Cummings to say, yes, Mr. President, okay, I understand all that you said. Thank you for admitting that you have one or two anomalies. Thank you for the progress that you've made so far. In my opinion, they may not be considerable. I too may have criticized you for this, for that, but it's all in the interest of our country. So I will support you. Cummings, I don't want to believe said anything like that, as evident by what we just played, constituting a 5-member committee. So Cummings going that way, it is not impossible. Let me say again, it is not impossible, but it's going to be a decision that will be very difficult for him to make. And here is the last one as part of that contextualization. The public's view, how Cummings has always been. How would the public see Cummings? Assume that he went President Weah's way. How would the public see him? Having been critical of this man's regime from the very first day to the last announcement of the election's results presidentially. And then there is Joseph Boakai of the Unity Party. Joseph Boakai too went to Alexander Cummings' house. He went to Cummings' house. He went to see Cummings. They sat down and they talked. And I want to believe the first thing that was trashed out or that they talk about was their difference, the confusion, what led to the CPP split. From the very day that CPP got dismantled till the very day of the last presidential results by the National Elections Commission, it has never been a cordial relationship between Joseph Boakai and Alexander Cummings, as evident by what we saw in the campaign. In the campaign, CPP/ANC was very ballistic against Unity Party. And some people were wondering, how come? All of you in the opposition, you say your target is President Weah, that you want to oust President Weah. So how now you people are turning your ballistic missiles against each other? ANC/CPP lambasting Unity Party retaliating. It's all because of what happened. They went to court. The relationship had been sour. On top of it, the Benina Euro factor. Now, with that, you expect that Cummings will look at it, coupled with other issues, and say that I'm supporting Joe Boakai in the runoff. That's the first one. Secondly, within this contextualization, the situation between President Weah's regime, Cummings, vis-a-vis Cummings criticism, Joseph Boakai, CPP split, not really strong. What that means is the situation, Alexander Cummings can look at it and say, okay, we have misunderstanding within the CPP because of this, because of that. Though we went to court, they said this, they said that. However, these things happen in life. We can put it behind us and move forward. But if that will be Cummings' argument, then the same can be applied to President George Weah. Cummings can also say that I've criticized this man's regime from the very first day till now, but he has done some significant things. We haven't been at loggerheads. No. We have always been good friends, despite our difference politically. Therefore, I can use my manifestos that I have for the future of the country, though I wasn't elected, but I can put it at President Weah's disposal, and he can look at it and get some bits and pieces from it and then add on to his proper agenda. Cummings could also go that way. So the two, not too grave, as much as Cummings would say that we can trash the differences that led to the split of CPP. We weren't talking for a good while, and we can go into the second round. I can align with you or give you my support. Cummings could equally say the same of President Weah, that President Weah and I have been good friends. We have not been bitter friends. We have not been at odds with each other. We have only been different on political ground. My criticism, which has always been constructive for the good of our country. Therefore, I can support President Weah in the second round, given that he has done considerably well. Though I have been critical of some things, but I can give him my support and turn my manifesto over to him, and he can look at it and take whatever the bits and pieces he can take from there to move forward. That could be another. So I leave it hanging like that. You could see. It wouldn't be a surprise to me, Sam Andrews, hearing Cummings going to President Weah or Joseph Boakai. I cannot tell you where I want him to go. I can only put the bits and pieces together as I have done. And then there's the last factor. The last factor, the public. Public pressure. When I say the public, I mean the perimeter, their supporters. Their supporters. Already, Tiawan Gonglo has gone to Joe Boakai. A statement was read by his campaign man, his party's chairman, rather, and confusion is in the camp right now. But he has taken a position to align with Joe Boakai in the second round. Excited Unity Party aides, they have released a statement. Yeah, what they said, just a single line. The Liberian People's Party, LPP of Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, endorsed the Green Revolution. But too many or some people within Tiawan Gonglo's party are not comfortable. And it's all because, besides being supportive of Tiawan Gonglo in the first round, they have preference between President George Weah and Joseph Boakai. Based on this, that is the reason most political leaders, when it comes to a runoff, they will remain neutral so that the people decide. Tiawan Gonglo moving to Joe Boakai, there are other other officials. I said, but no, between President Weah and Joe Boakai, President Weah has been my favorite, or President Weah is the favorite. Why our leader will not get our consensus, but rather will just make a declaration? I do not want to believe, and I am not saying that he took a unilateral decision. I am saying what I know is when a political leader makes a decision to side with either one of these two contenders, the followers have their individual preference. They have their individual preference apart from the administrative procedure or how it ought to go. So a faction of the party could say Liberian People's Party has endorsed has endorsed Joe Boakai in the second round. And then we aren't part of Joe Boakai. We don't fancy Joe Boakai, but rather we fancy George Weah. So how can our political leader, because he wants to go to Joe Boakai, or he has decided to go to Joe Boakai, so all of us should follow? There's the pressure. That's, if not the only, but it's one of the pressures on the political parties when they are making, or the leaders when they are making these decisions as to which way to go. So most of them would do it in a more philosophical way, as you have heard Cummings say. Now, Cummings can take, not that Cummings can take outright decision, But Comey is just playing the smart to say this is what the committee has decided. That all. Cummings already knows where he wants to go. But not to avoid confusion, he said, let me switch it to the committee to decide, and that committee will meet with partisans, and the partisans, if they give their approval, fine. So at the close of the day, I can't be blamed that I took unilateral decision. He's just playing a smart game. But Cummings already knows where he wants to go. Either he remains neutral or he takes a side in the second round. So you have Tiawan Gonglo already in the camp, and there are others who they have spoken with. The interesting thing about this whole thing, the mystery character is not being sought after readily. Why isn't the mystery character being sought after? And he made it clear yesterday in his news conference that he's going to be very active in the runoff, Edward Appiton. Well, I talked about Edward Appiton on yesterday, why he isn't a major factor in the second round. I can't be repetitive. So they are moving here and there. You're going to see it, but they will have to take side. And it is not good to abstain as much as it is their constitutional right, it is their democratic right, but it's not good to abstain. Abstinence, that's just one person decision. So assume that Sam Andrews has 100 persons following him. And in the second round, Sam Andrews say he remaining neutral. Does it say the rest of the people will remain neutral? No. It is only Sam Andrews that won't vote. So that vote abstain. The rest of the people, they will move. That is why it is not, in my opinion, it is not right to be neutral or to leave it with the people. Take a side. The same way you would tell people to take side to make the difference, the same way political leaders, those of you who didn't make the second round, or those of you who stopped at the first round, you take a decision, you take a side, either CDC or Unity Party, but take a side. Don't abstain. Don't tell your people, I leave it with you to decide. It is not good leadership. It is bad. The next time you attempt to contest an election, you will not get the support of the people because they will soon realize that you are a political weakling. Doesn't have that tenacity in terms of leadership. In such a time, you stand up, you rise to the occasion. Political party A, we are taking a side. Everybody can go the same way. Those who want to follow me into CDC, let's go. Those who want to follow me to Unity Party, let's go. Those who think that they should not go with me to CDC and have opted to go their way, let them go. But you have to take a side. Don't abstain. Abstinence is not good leadership. It's a bad leadership. It's bad mannerism. Don't abstain. Don't tell your people you can decide. Take a decision. You are the leader. You being the leader. They've been behind you all day, all night, rain, sun. Just like the people were behind Moses. You are the leader. They look to you for direction. Take a side. Either CDC or Unity Party. Don't tell your people that you are abstaining or you are neutral in this thing. You're going to leave it with the people to decide. Take a side. Let not your leadership stop there. You will be a weakling. You will be seen as a weakling. Take a side. If I were leading a political party, in this situation, I would take a side. I would take a side. You either take a side or you stay outside. Then when it doesn't happen the way you want it to happen, then don't criticize. Don't criticize. Simple as that. Okay. That will be doing it for that. Let's see. Those of you who are following, can appreciate you the Mo. Thank you so much. You're listening to Bits and Pieces on Voice of Liberia 104.1 Morovia and Voice of Liberia 89.7 Kakata, Magibi County. Very shortly, we have Voice of Liberia Bongen. Very shortly, very shortly. The setup, the preparation is underway. And in no time, Voice of Liberia will be covering the entire country very shortly. There are a couple of you who are following. Morris Kennedy, thank you ever so much. Thank you ever so much for the compliments. I appreciate it. Roberto Riches, you are following live from Louisville, Kentucky, the United States. Thank you so much for following. Hope that you're faring well on that side. And then Juje Onwe. Juje Onwe, good afternoon. You say you are following from Johnsonville, Liberia. Kumba Kekula, thank you ever so much for following. You didn't say, hope that the next time you would say, Mark and Ben, you are following from Dupo Road. Is it Dupo Road? Yes, Dupo Road, Zuba Town. And the list is just long. Solomon Swab, thank you ever so much. Solomon Swab is a perfect analysis, perfectly said. Kumba, thank you ever so much for following. You are following live from Canada. Thank you ever so much for joining the show this afternoon. I will say this afternoon because it's in the afternoon in Liberia. I don't know your time in Canada, but thank you ever so much for following. Bobo the Manjaba Bobo's son Kamara. Thank you so much for following. It is evening in your area where you are. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Fly Emirates. Thank you ever so much. You are following live from United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi. Thank you so much. All of you, the list is long and long. Eugene Jobo, good afternoon, and thank you for following. C. Willem Sia, you are watching from the township of West Point. Rufus Divine Brooks Jr., thank you for joining in. Let's turn to you now to have your say. 0770 907 907, 0880 907 907, and you are on Bits and Pieces on Voice of Liberia 104.1 Morovia. Voice of Liberia 89.7 Kakata, Magibi County, 0770 907 907, 0880 907 907, and you will be live on the show this afternoon with me, Sam Andrews, on this 25th day of October 2023, run of year in Liberia, having concluded the first round. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my name is Joshua Corey Jr. I'm speaking from Jefferson Peace Island.
Let's hear you, Mr. Colley.
Yeah. I appreciate you for the show so much. And what we are expecting from most of the broad candidates to do is that if you feel like you want to be part of somebody, you be within. But don't be a pretender. Because if the next government leaves, the next one that will come at the end of the day, you will be the same person that will criticize them. And that is my analysis.
So you're saying that they should take side and not to abstain? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for calling. Have a nice afternoon. Good afternoon. Lower your radio or move away from it. I beg you, sir. 0770 907 907, 0880 907 907. When you call, you don't have to tune your radio loud. Just keep it at a moderate volume, or you walk away from it and you die so that you understand yourself good. Because if it is loud enough, you will not understand yourself. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Teresa calling from Brazil.
Teresa what?
Teresa Davis.
Let's hear you.
Yes,
Madam or Mrs.
Yeah,
Yeah, let us hear you.
Yes, as long they all are from CPP, and his father has decided to call him to tell him come home. I've not seen anything big inside. He's supposed to come enjoy the party.
Who are you referring to?
I'm talking about what is this name?
Alexander Cummings?
Alexander Cummings. Thank you. That's him.
Did you say he should go home?
He should go on Joe Walker's side because they all were CPP together. They all were together before.
But why you can tell him? Why you can tell him to go, or why you don't want him to go George Weah's way?
Reason being because all of them was carrying the same goal, and then conflict him in. So then this time around now they have reconciled, and that the CDC and the United Party will be going one round, and they all were carrying the same goal. So then the both of them need to come to one conclusion.
Did they reconcile? Did they reconcile?
Come again?
Did they reconcile? You say now that all of them reconcile. Did they reconcile?
Yes. What I'm saying reconcile, but the father going to him is reconciliation.
But he went to beg his support. He went to beg Cummings' support. So that is not reconciliation, because prior to the election, he didn't go to say anything or to do anything at Cummings' house. We only heard after NEC announced the runoff, then he went to Cummings' house.
Yeah, but they are there, they're all carrying the same goal. What is he against? The same thing Joe Walker is against. So what they can come together and make up the fight.
But going to CDC, going President Weah's way, it will be good for Cummings, won't it?
For me, I realize he goes to do because going to CDC only doing it to convince him so he can come over. If only he go over to CDC and CDC don't do what he wanted for them to do, what he do?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you ever so much for calling. Have a nice afternoon there in Broadville. 0770 907 907 0880 907 907. And you are on Bits and Pieces on Voice of Liberia 104.1 with me, Sam Andrews. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. What I'm saying here is the Unity Party, those that in the Unity Party, especially the head of the Unity Party, which is Joseph Bogai, he is not let go. He is not let go, that old man. Why I say this? He disgraced Kumi, he sued Kumi, he dragging the court, he calling all kinds of names, he calling him roll. He do it to the same letters that we hear today, you'll be coming. But that letter to what you could no price, you're not going to go to Joseph Bogai. He used the Kanga and dust them down as a flow red. And when I pick Jeremiah Combe, and I can't care what you do with for that puppy, you would never recognize it.
So where do you want Cummings to go?
Look, it's better for me to go to CDC. It's better. I somehow not disgrace with that. I take myself to follow the party. It will not work. Yeah, imagine I care what you do for that old man will never recognize it today. It's better for me to go to CDC. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling. Have a nice afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. And you?
Yeah, my call has to do with the previous caller.
Your name, your full name, sir?
My name is Hamza Abdullah from District Number 1, New Jerusalem.
Go ahead, Abdullah.
My call got to do with the previous caller who is saying that Boakai disgraced Kumi and whatsoever. My brother, if you don't have idea of anything, don't just jump in it and say whatsoever you want to say. This is not about you. It's not about me. It's not about Kumi. It's not about Boakai. This is about the entire Liberia. Our next generations are coming. This is about that.
But Alhamdulillah, hold on. Isn't it true that Alexander Cummings was disgraced?
In which way?
Isn't it true you aren't aware that he was in disgrace?
He wasn't disgraced. He wasn't disgraced. It was legal actions that were taken. You wanted Bouakai to fight him, to beat him, and which after the law is there. They went through court process. And before they could have these organizations, it was the sign of memorandums of understanding. They went through it. Everybody signed towards it. So if you boycott it, then you should know that legal actions will be taken against you. My brother, the people, they didn't fight. It was just common understanding, and they have understanding themselves. That's why after everything, Joe Bouakai gave his speech openly. That if you can fix, if you are a fixer, come let's fix this country. He reconciled with everybody. That is the reconciled message that he sent towards everybody, my brother.
So you want Cummins, you want Alexander Cummins to go the way of Joe Bouakai?
Yes, I want that way. And I want every opposition, including Alexander Cummins, to go that way.
And you are happy with the news of Tiawan Gonglo, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, going to Joe Bouakai?
I'm happy with Tiawan Gonglo. I'm happy with him. Every opposition, every Liberian. Now I'm happy with every one of them.
Thank you so much for calling, sir. Have a nice afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is Talent calling from Clarkstown.
Yeah, let us hear you.
Yeah, you see, my brother, I believe that Cummins will go to GMB. The reason is that if it comes to job distribution, CDC is very cruel. Even the NPP that we've done now, you can see when they are distributing jobs, they marginalize NPP. You understand? I heard some.
But you think Cummins's endorsement will be on job? Does Cummins want job from CDC or President Weah?
You think Cummins will endorse CDC and then his guys are then with him? They don't want job. You think they will not help to get them job? Do you think so? That you just give me they can endorse you because he loves you. Then the guys are with him. You will not get a position that what CDC is doing to NPP now. And in fact, CDC.
So Cummins himself may not want a position, but his supporters, he might put some proposals on the table before President George Weah for his party.
At the end, John Flower will just agree on a something, but at the end he will not do it. My brother, we know these people. We know President Weah is men.
Thank you so much for calling. Have a nice afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. 0770-907-907. 0880-907-907. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You want to lower the radio or move away from it?
Hello?
Yeah, you are on the air.
Yeah, how someone will vote because we want to vote away in Banga. How will we vote this second time?
Well, it is a good question. It is a good question, but you are asking the wrong person on the wrong station. You should be asking yourself how you went to Banga to register. You can go the same way as you went to vote, and then.
No, I went because of my representative and my senator in Bon Country.
And your senator and representative won?
Yes.
Yeah, but tell them that either one of them they are supporting either one of the two candidates.
Okay.
So tell them you know who your candidate, who your senator or representatives supported in the first round?
No, my senator is how to call him?
Oh, my man, you know your senator name? 0770-907-907. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Victor Goofy, and I call from Pacope. What I want to say is that the second round, I'm hoping that all of those that are into it, whether those that never turn out for the second round, that they should all have Liberia at heart, because we have 6 years to go. Whatever is between two persons shouldn't be a reason to make decision. So if Arizona Cummings think that President Weah would do better in the next 6 years, I think it would be preferable that he gives his support to President Weah so that the next 6 years of Liberia will be better. But if he feels that the next 6 years will be okay when Joe Barker is there, I think he should make a decision based on that, not because of somebody talking to him. Let him go and sit and think for Liberia. And I want to say this to every other Liberian: whatever you are going to do this second, it shouldn't be because of individual. You should love your nation above whatsoever person and vote because you believe this person will deliver our country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, too. Have a nice day. Good afternoon.
Yeah, sorry, Rob, they calling for I see.
Yeah, thank you for exercising patience. Now you are
Yeah,
on the air.
yeah, my name is Abraham Yumai. I call from Christian Police around the Habel, Iran.
Let us hear you.
Yeah, I want to send it as a piece of advice and patriotic message to all Liberians. If we think we're doing the voting for the country, I think the person who is mostly known for reconciling and peaceful, it is George Manuel Weah. And if anybody is doing this thing for the betterment of the country, I think on the short term, we saw the massive development that took over, and I just heard on the air that PhD is being improved and everybody is happy about it. And there are many developments that the person has carried on. I think if anybody thinks the country should be on the right trajectory, it should be the way of President Weah. That which he has proven before even becoming president. So many people in this country, they are aware. Even some of the opposition will talk with them, say, we know that President Weah loves this country. He get good heart, he's a good man. But for this reason, for people that are around him. If you think people are around President Weah are West, look around Ambassador Barker and see who are around him. Even they go in election, you know which of the party that kill people in this country.
Okay, Chief. Thank you ever so much. Thank you for spicing up the show. I appreciate it. Gono Zulu Young Choir, thank you for following. Abraham Adams, you are following live from Miami, Florida, the United States of America. Thank you ever so much. You said great show. Thank you ever so much. Adam, you are there in Miami, Florida, where you are following from. Honorable Emmanuel K. Bolokon, thank you for following. Joma J. Alfred, you say you are watching from Voice of Liberia in Kakata, Magibi County. Thank you ever so much. Hope that you guys are faring well there at Voice of Liberia 89.7, Kakata, Magibi County. Sekou Traori Jabate, you are watching from Bypass. Thank you ever so much. Let's keep doing it. Morris Kennedy, you are also following. Thank you ever so much. Okay. So let's talk this one and then we are off for the day. Speaker Buffer Chambers lost the elections. I use the word lost because the National Elections Commission did announce the winner for Maryland County. Now the speaker is claiming that he was cheated. There were ballot stuffing, collusion, and a lot more. So they filed a formal complaint with the National Elections Commission as provided by the elections law. And they had the first hearing on yesterday. Both parties were there, except for Anthony Williams, the student leader who defeated the former speaker lawyer. Anthony Williams lawyer wasn't there because it is a due process. You have to go along with your lawyer. So he is pressing, former speaker Buffer Chambers is pressing for a rerun. Now, here is it. Listen, this country, if you would say that I'm being biased, fine. But when you are defeated in such a situation like that, it's all but fair that you concede defeat. The situation is just like what we see in football matches. Whenever the 90 minutes are over, you will see the match official will come on the sideline or the touch line and raise the ball. And you'll see number. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes, called extra time. And what do we hear from the guys as we sit in their midst to watch the game or watching the game? They would say it's for everybody. It's for everybody. Now, the speaker said Country Devil came outside and people ran off the voting center. So the speaker is saying by their argument, those people who ran off because the devil came are his supporters. Had they remained there, had they remained there by his reasoning, by his logical reasoning, had they remained there, they would have cast their votes in his favor and he would have won. 2, collusion. 3, ballot stuffing. Collusion, ballot stuffing. That means when you say ballot stuffing, that next staff he's referring to now, that next staff, they put some extra ballot papers in his opponent box that gave his opponent the edge and a lot more. So his political affairs man, the man who manages his political affairs, Josh Watkins, will explain why they are in for a rerun.
The speaker, being a peaceful person, being law abiding, decided to file a legal brief with the National Elections Commission after exhausting what was available in the county. So today we are here at the level of the Board of Commissioners to talk to them and tell them what were the crimes we have, those irregularities are happening while we're in Plibo. Some of our complaints stems from the situation in Wechokin, in Plibo, and that of Osodokin, and how there were issues of ballot stuffing, intimidation of voters, the appearance of the country devil. At the level of the speaker, we've asked for a rerun of this sentence. I think that it is precedent in our recent electoral history, where if there are qualms with certain centers within the district, you can probably have a quarantine and you call for rerun. So we are respecters of the law. We do not intend to hijack the law. We do not intend to use police power. We could have done it if we wanted to have been. But then we decided to respect the law. And so all we're doing right now, we are following what the law says. After we've exhausted those legal mechanisms at the level of the county, we are now here at the headquarters of the National Elections Commission, where we expect the Board of Commissioners to look into our complaint file against the process that was conducted in some of the centers in Plibo Second District in Maryland County. So we filed for recount and subsequent rerun of some centers in Plibo because we got evidence of ballots have been stopped. We got evidence that the people were intimidated by traditional or max themselves, what we call country devil. We have evidence about collusion between the networker and that of the other party. So with all of what we have, we want to adduce them and have it exhibited before the Board of Commissioners, and wherein we're going to see wisdom and do the needful thing as per what the law dictates. So that's exactly what I'm here for. And it's unfortunate today that our opponent came here, he said he doesn't have a lawyer, and he's asked for time, and he's asked the Board of Commissioners to grant him up to Thursday, where he's going to come here with his lawyers for the matter to be heard. Fine, it is his right under the law. We're going to respect that, as we all respected the terms and conditions of the legal mechanisms. So the Board of Commissioners so far, they granted him that time. So Thursday, let him bring a lawyer. We're going to be here with our lawyers, and we're going to look into the matter.
Josh Watkins, the political affairs officer of defeated House Speaker Dr. Buffer Chambers. Now, it's all but fair. Why it is true that I cannot question any one of those things, but put all of those things together, you realize that it's just a make-up. If he wins the case, fine. If he doesn't, then he has to accept. Secondly, no position is for a person perpetually. Speaker Chambers, like any other person, have had their opportunity to serve this country in their capacity. There isn't a law that said that Speaker Chambers should be Speaker or should be a member of that House of Representatives until amen. Representative Gray lost. Gray wasn't satisfied with some things, but he realized that he did lose. Gray could have come up with a number of things and challenge to go back, but he considered defeat because he lost, even if he opted for a rerun. So what did Gray do? He considered defeat and urged his supporters to accord or to give the same respect they gave him over the years to the winner of District 8. Solomon George refused to accept defeat, though the margin is 5,000 plus. So even if a rerun in District 7, Emmanuel Down will still win. And sometimes you can have a rerun and the number can increase. That means if my rival or the person who brought the complaint against me that there were ballot stuffing, there were devil moving, and on, so he didn't get the vote, let it be recounted. We can go through the recount. We have seen it in our elections here. And then I have additional votes. It can happen. So sometimes you just look at certain things and let it go. It is possible that NEC can do a rerun and Anthony Williams' vote can even increase. You can't tell. We have seen it. But the speakership or being in that legislature is not for one person. Speaker Chambers doesn't have to think that he can live his entire life or he should just be in that legislature. I think it's just desperation for power. We agree that he is a staunch supporter of CDC. But he did extremely well in Maryland County because, President, we have won consistently Maryland County. I think he only tried to avoid the shame that he lost to what is referred to, what they were referring to, because they were referring to this man as low-level man. To have lost. The same thing we say in football matches. If my team, Barcelona, that I support, if Barcelona loses to Atletico Madrid or Manchester United or Real Madrid, I can take pride in it. But it will be so demeaning and shameful, and my colleagues will be telling me all kinds of things, as they would say, if Barcelona loses to a low-level team, unknown team, let water burn me. Say, hey, man, if Baka people get beat more, that low-level team go beat up, it can be shameful, even though you will try to put up defense. It is the same thing in this political game with Dr. Buford Chambers. I think he just feels shame. And this is not to say that it's going to happen at the National Elections Commission, but I think right now, Buford Chambers, in his desperation, will do everything monetarily to overturn the result in his favor. It hasn't happened in Liberia. It has happened. Can this one not happen? Well, I don't know. But what I'm saying, that Buford Chambers, one, is shame. Two, he's desperate to get back. If Buford Chambers was beaten by somebody of his caliber, he wouldn't have put up any challenge. No, he wouldn't have put up any challenge. We've seen it in this country over the time. But a low-level person, an ordinary person, some refer to him as money changer. Some refer to him as student leader. Whatever the description, Buford Chambers lost to him. Coming up to bring all of those claims is to say, I'm ashamed. I have to do everything to get back into the legislature. When you lost, you lost. Everybody can be in the same position all of the time. It's bigotry. It doesn't help the country. You have to make way for other people. This is why we have to live with the philosophical maxim. And hear what it says. Get in, get it done right, and get out. No position is a personal property. Even your house, you can live in your house forever and ever. Even in the grave, when you die, You can't live there forever and ever. That is why we have resurrection. You stay in that grave for 30 years, 25 years, 40 years, 15 years. You will move from there. That's why we are told that the body, the body itself, not the frame, the body goes back to God called the spirit. Even the heaven that we're going to, we are told that you're not stay there forever and ever because we are told we'll come back to earth. What that tells you, you can be to a place forever and ever because somebody else will have to move there. You have to make way. Great loss. Nobody saw great losing. Great came up graciously like other losers and congratulated their winners and they're moving on with their life. Why certain people think that they should be the only person in that position and be there as long as they ought to be there and want to be there? This is a shame for this country. It's a shame. It can be that way all of the time. Chambers, you lost. Don't come up with different shenanigans and think that they're going to make sense in the opinion of the National Elections Commission. You lost. Accept it. Be gracious in defeat and move on. Already, be like the other people, Chief. Be like the other people. They accept their defeat. And they congratulated the winners. It can be you. So you, the only person, should be in that legislature and nothing besides being the speaker, because had Buffer Chimba won, he would have done everything to remain speaker. Now, that speakership is going to land on the lap of Fonati Kofa. Already, Fonati Kofa wanted to be the speaker. He had always been ambitious for that, and that is good. It's not wrong at all. When you have ambition for something, you pursue it. When the opportunity avails itself to you, you take advantage of it. I'm saying that because I know he's going to work his way through. It's also possible he could not win. But what I do know is he wants to be the next Speaker of the House of Representatives. Speaker Chambers, former Speaker Chambers, former Representative Dr. Buffer Chambers, accept it. There are other things you have to do. There are other positions you can serve your country in. It doesn't have to be representative. It doesn't have to be speaker. You lost, you lost. Let's try to change the dynamics. Why it is true that you have your right to challenge under the law, but the challenge should be germane enough. You should have substantial, weighty prima facie, not imputing sentiment and think that everybody will give into the sentiment simply because of your bigotry instinct to remain where you are and always want to be there. No. Give way to other people. That's democracy. Weren't you people? You see the irony? You see the irony? You see the irony? These were the same people from the onset of the elections who were saying, when people were talking all kinds of stuff, well, we don't want anything in this country. We want war. We want fighting. The people were talking all of those things. They will add their voices to say, this whole election year, we want this. Whoever wins, let's accept the result. That was the anthem that was all over the place. Whoever wins, let's accept the result. So, Speaker Chambers, you have lost. Let's accept the result. Those who lost, they accepted the result. It finished. It is very likely that you can go, they do a recount, and that man win again. So you want to do a recount, or you want a recount to be convinced. You aren't convinced by what NEC has done. So in essence, you're saying that your NEC didn't conduct that election fair. Because he also talked about ballot stuffing. Ballot stuffing means people from the election commission who are controlling it. They stuff ballot inside in the upper net area, as we have heard in previous elections. Ballot stuffing. And I think a NEC investigated something like that. But Chief, you lost, you lost. Leave it. You serve your country. You stay long in that legislature. You didn't do what you needed to have done. You have all of the monies. You sat down on the money. Money is not for you to sit on. Money is for usage. Use the money. Build people's life. Leave a legacy. Let people reference what you have done. Let them show to other people, this is what this man has done for us. This man built this. This man sent people to school. This man did this. This man did that. That's what money is all about. What good is having all of the money when you die? What they use, that the same money they use to put you on the ground. Then you have no legacy. If you ever have a legacy, it will be a negative legacy. You know why most of your friends gone back? Because they use the money to improve people's lives. Those who were in need of assistance, they helped. Where they needed to have built school, they built. Look at Marcus Emmanuel Down. The people at West Point voted him overwhelmingly. Everybody in West Point would speak to Emmanuel's Down work. The people did not say Emmanuel Down took physical cash and get it and say, go eat food, go to the restaurant. As much as they needed money, as much that he knew that they needed money, they also needed shelter. In his opinion, they needed shelter, they needed water, they needed all the kinds of stuff. And in his capacity with his meager resources, he did. But some of you sat on the money. It wasn't necessary to reach out to people. It wasn't necessary to help people, to improve people's life. And the best thing you can ever do, the greatest legacy you can ever leave on earth, is to influence people's life for the better. Is to take somebody, is to wipe somebody's tears. It's to take somebody from that dungeon to a good state. And that's the reason why money is for. That's why money good. And the very Bible, those of us who are Christians, what did the Bible say? The Bible speaks good of money. People can run into 2 Timothy and say, oh, the Bible says, oh, money dead. The money is the root of all evil. No. God is telling you that money is good. Money is precious. You know how many times money is used in the Bible in different ways? We use money to improve people's life, to give them good condition. That is why when you have money, listen, don't be skeptical. Don't hold it back. Use it. Help people. Let it be used for the right purpose. And you will have the return on your investment. Every investment you make in people's life, you have the return. There isn't an investment you make that you wouldn't have a return. You may not see it from that moment. You may not demand it, but you will have your return. Either if you get the reward personally, or your family, or your institution, some way. God comes in to pay you back for what you have done. That is why you never give up. Don't sit on money. Very many of you have money. You keep money, millions, thousands of US dollars. You're moving in tinted windshield. You're buying the latest of cars all over the place. In no time, you fall down. Breath gone. What we call death. What happened? You carry all those monies in a casket. They're not going to put those monies in a casket. They're not going to put all of those cars and whatever in the casket. They're just going to put you in one coat suit or one dress and shove you in that hole. And it's finished. It's over. So everybody now criticizing you for leaving nothing. What did the Bible talk? What did the Bible say? Even though it's a reference for, they say, family, but it's not. It's a reference for everybody, everywhere. And say an infidel, right? A person who doesn't leave an inheritance. Now, many people can interpret it to mean exclusively family, but no. Go down into the text. Go to the history of the text. Those Those of you who are biblically inclined, it means everywhere we're in this radio station, whichever way we can help people, whichever way we can reach out, whichever way we can make an impact, so that today or tomorrow, when we leave from here, it stays. And that's why we always tell everybody in Voice of Liberia, whatever we can do to build your capacity, whatever we can do to help you, we do it. Because today or tomorrow, we will not be around. And that legacy has to live on that impact right there. So y'all had the money, you're sitting on it. But for Chimo, didn't do anything much. You are relaxed. Yeah, President, we are moving around. We used to tell you, yeah, President, we are campaigning for you. That's true. But the president, we used to tell you, the president will not force people. He will not go tell people one by one, force in there and say, come on, stand here, vote for my representative. No. The president goes and talk for you, talk how he needs you, but the president can't force the people. And you don't do nothing in your district. The president can talk for another German day when the people say, we want a man, we want him. And that's what we have seen with those who lost. The president talked for most of those people he went around in the ring and all. He's standing talking in the ring, beating him. He's standing talking for some of those candidates, those representative candidates, senatorial candidates. What happened? As soon as the people turned up, the president turned about and said, we hear the president, but we ain't voting for that man. And truly, when NEC announced the result, they're off. Because they did not do anything. Nothing. Don't hold money. Don't worship money. Those of you who have money, don't worship it. Do whatever you can do. You don't have to be representative. And I'm speaking to everybody everywhere. Whatever place you find yourself, whatever the position you find yourself in, whatever the few dollars you have, don't sit on it. Money is nothing that you can worship. Money can worship you. What you can do with money is to affect people's life. And God will do the rest. You can tell some of the people who won here, God's hand was in their election because of how they turned to people. The greatest thing you can ever do for God is to affect people's life if you are a Christian, if you are a Muslim, because the Quran speaks of that. I've seen it in the Quran. The greatest thing you can ever do for people is to affect their lives. Hold on to nothing. All of those things are transitory. Money is transitory, is transient. Car, any property, any material is transient. It's transitory. It's moving in a twinkling of an eye. It's off. Okay. That's all. Thank you ever so much for being with us. That's all the time we've got. Just try to urge all of us. So, Orita Penon, thank you ever so much. Thank you ever so much for following and for following. Morris and Gawe, thank you ever so much. You're saying 18 years is enough for Honorable Chimox. 18 years, long time. Thank you ever so much, Morris and Gawe. Bemba Prince, Mamin Amra, you are following from Jacob Time. Thank you ever so much for following. Orlando Willie, thank you ever so much for following from 72nd. Zuba Randa Roberts, thank you for following. Gono Zulu, Young Pao, thank you ever so much for following. And all of you can appreciate you the more. We're back tomorrow, if God permits. My name is Sam Andrews, and this is Bits and Pieces on Voice of Liberia. Take care of yourself now. Shalom.
Don't trouble nothing too much, you know. 1, 2, 3, loving you. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Loving you back. 1, 2, 3. I love you. 5, 6, I'm missing you. I want you back. Long time no see. Out your love, I'm lonely. I miss you, and it's too hard to bear. What have you done to me?
The hits just keep on coming.
On 104.1 FM, Voice of Liberia.
Are you tired with slow internet? Do you want super fast and affordable internet? Telecel Liberia is here to provide all your internet service needs. The internet is moving at a fast pace, and only super fast internet speed can help you keep up. At Telecel, our internet packages are divided into distinct categories: mega, optimal, premium, elite, and big business that suits kids, universities, schools, hotels, beaches, homes, offices, urban areas, and much more. Anything is possible with Telecel Liberia. Get your own streaming box for Netflix, Amazon Prime, Showmax, and more. At Telecel, our amazing 24-hour customer service is there to help you with all your needs. Telecel Liberia, super fast speed, 24 hours technical support team, the best broadband and fiber optic internet service in Liberia. For more information, please call 0770-399-399 or 0881-399-399. Or stop by our office on 3rd Street, Syncor, opposite the Carter Center and GLZ building. Visit our website, telecellliberia.com. Email us at info@telecellliberia.com. Telecel Liberia, the best internet service provider, is here for you. Telecel Liberia, connecting the unconnected.
I want to flex my love. I want to bless.
Aduma kivinyo ebe kulen. Awon bono kabe da pira komna bo. Be oni awuri ponje jo awe. Okay. Da pira oni komna bo. Be oni awuri che pampopo jo awe. Okay, da pira komna bo onyo be oni a kone ni komna be okunye. Wala wana dedi do pinza. Ke wani je no ma kivinyo be na ke bo be wako ke ke o kwa point. Omode be mu sansa nja anwen.
Berade me ko yingeni duo fa de ma chenge won
Gonna bo be mo ara e bi oni atachi ponje jo awe.